Okay, so we are going to pick up where we left off on our robot from day one. We're going to build his arm, and we're going to build one whole arm first before we copy it over. It's easier to build the entire arm first instead of trying to copy and duplicate each piece separately. So you're going to get your rounded rectangle tool, and you are going to click and drag down to just create this little joint for his shoulder. If you feel like it needs to be bumped over a little bit and you can't, and you click and drag with your mouse and it goes a little too far, you can always use the arrow keys on your keyboard to line it up just perfectly. To make his shoulder, we're going to use the rectangle tool, but we want it to be a perfect square. So you're going to hold down the shift key and click and drag to make a perfect square. Then line that up and make sure that it's centered. You see your smart guides show you where it's centered, and then let go. Actually, I'm going to make that a bit smaller, hold my shift key, and much better. Okay, to make his arm, you're going to use the rectangle tool again. You're going to make kind of a longer rectangle. You're going to go a bit past his body. And again, use your selection tool to center it, like that. And then we're going to create his hand. And we're going to use the what's called the Pathfinder minus front tool to create what sort of looks like a claw shape. And to do that, we're going to build it in 3 pieces. So the first piece is going to be a perfect circle. And you're going to put that perfect circle that's holding shift right at the end of his arm and align it. You're going to create another perfect circle inside of that one and center. There we go. Okay, now we are going to create a diamond, and to do that we're actually going to create a perfect square. So hold your shift key with your rectangle tool and make a square. And then when you are on your selection tool and you just hover over this corner, you'll see that curved arrow pop up. When that curved arrow pops up, you can click, hold your mouse, and drag it to create a diamond. And the diamond is going to be at a perfect 315 degrees. You're going to move that diamond where the tip of it is at the intersection of the circle, or of the center of the circle, just like that. And actually I'm going to bump that up just a little. Okay, so now essentially what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this diamond, and it's just going to leave us with this claw shape. You need to select all 3 of those shapes. So you can do that by using your selection tool, clicking and dragging here, or you can use the shift key on your keyboard to individually select the pieces. But whatever you do, make sure just these 3 pieces are selected and not any other parts of the body. We don't want to be subtracting those. So with those 3 pieces selected, you're going to go to Window, Pathfinder, and then you're going to choose the second one on the first row, which says minus front. And then that's going to delete that diamond that was in the front and leave us with this really cool shape of the claw. Now, if you see that, you see the back of the hand or the arm underneath here, just grab that and move it down and cover it up. That's not really a big deal. Okay, so we have a completed arm and we're ready to make a copy of it and put it on the other side. So you're going to get your selection tool and click and drag to select all the pieces of the arm. Do not select any other part of his body, just his arm. You're going to hold Alt, click, and drag to make a copy. And then with it still selected, you're going to right click on it, arrange, nope, just kidding, right click, transform, and reflect. We want to reflect this arm vertically. You can always click the preview button just to make sure before you click OK to commit. Then you're simply going to drag the arm over here until you see it align at the top with your smart guides. Now he has two arms, much better. Okay, so next we're going to create his body. So we're going to use the polygon tool for that. And remember with the polygon tool, when you click and drag, before you let go of your mouse, you have to decide how many sides you want it to have. We're going to create a pentagon. So that means it needs to have 5 sides. So before letting go of your mouse finger, you're going to click the up or down arrows on your keyboard to get the correct number of sides. Right now we have the pentagon, which is 5 sides. So hold shift and that'll straighten it up, right? And then just let go. So I'm going to do that one more time. So you're going to have the polygon tool, you're going to click and drag, hold your mouse finger down, and use the arrow keys on your keyboard to select the correct number of sides. Once you find the correct number of sides, you're going to hold shift to straighten it up, and then let go. And then we're going to place it in just a second. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click and drag until we see the right corner of the pentagon perfectly match up with the right side of this robot's chest. And then once we have that, you're going to go at this corner, hold shift to maintain the proportions, and click and drag until the other side also meets, until the other corner also meets the side. Then you're going to click and drag it down so that the top corners of your pentagon almost meet with the bottom corners of the rectangle. It's very much like this. Our corners are supposed to be lining up just right here and right here. Okay, you are going to select that shape, right click, arrange, and send it to the back. And now he has that lower part of his abdomen. Okay, next we're going to use the blend tool to create what kind of looks like a series of lines right here, like a vent of sorts. So you're going to get your line segment tool. You're going to click and drag to create a line segment that follows the angle of your line here on your pentagon. And you're going to do the same thing for the other side. Click and drag to create a line. Now that didn't quite come out the way I wanted to, but that's okay because I can grab my selection tool and fix it a little bit more. Okay. So to create the blend, you have to have the beginning of the blend selected and you have to have the end of the blend selected. So we have both of those lines selected. I just used the shift key to select both of them. Make sure that you don't have anything else selected other than the 2 lines. Then you're going to go to Object, Blend, Make. You have to make the blend first, and then you can go in here and adjust what's called the steps, and that's how many lines are going to be in between the first one and the last one. You actually have this blend tool on your toolbar, so if you double click it, that brings up your blend options window. And for spacing, we're going to click that drop down and choose specified steps. and I put 16 lines in between those two. So click 16 and click OK, and you have what kind of looks like this vent at the bottom. You can use a blend tool for a lot of different things. You can use it to blend color. You can use it to do an offset of shapes. So there's really a lot that you can do with that. Okay, so next we're going to create his legs. So we're going to grab the rectangle tool, draw one rectangle. Okay. Then we're going to create what looks like a boot. So we're going to get our polygon again, and you're going to click and drag, and before you let go of your mouse, you're going to increase to a heptagon. A heptagon has 7 sides. So we left off on a pentagon, so we only have to increase it by 2 sides because that's 7. Hold shift to straighten it out. We're going to make it much smaller because it's just a boot. And then drag that over on top of your leg. Now, you can see that you can kind of see through mine, and that's because it defaulted to no fill. So you can just go up here to your fill it in with white if that happened to you. If not, you can go to the next step. So again, we're going to use that Pathfinder minus front tool. So we're going to get a rectangle. We're actually going to draw the rectangle over the top of this heptagon to create the shape of the boot. Again, if for some reason your rectangle is see-through, that means it doesn't have a fill, just go up here to your fill and change it to white. So you should have these two shapes now, and we're going to use that Pathfinder minus front tool to cut off the rectangle at the bottom. So you're going to select, using your shift key, both of those shapes. You're going to go to Window, Pathfinder, and then minus front, which leaves you with this shape of the boot. You will select both of those shapes, hold Alt, click, and drag to create a copy. And that's it for day 2. In the next video, we will be talking about filling it in with gradient color and creating a shadow.